I don't need your charity, Miss Hart. The words hit like stones. Cold, hard, final. Evelyn stood at the edge of Noah Whitaker's property, autumn wind tugging at her skirts. She'd been warned about this man. The shopkeeper had shaken his head. The Reverend's wife had whispered, "He hasn't spoken more than 10 words to anyone in 3 years." But Evelyn Hart had never turned away from a closed door. "It's not charity, Mr. Whitaker," she said steadily. "The schoolhouse roof is leaking. Winter's coming. I'm asking every landowner to contribute what they can." Noah didn't move from his barn, hammer gripped in one weathered hand, tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair that needed cutting and eyes that looked right through her, wounded eyes that made her heart ache even as he glared. "I pay my taxes. That's contribution enough. The taxes don't cover repairs, and there are 23 children in that schoolhouse. When it rains, they freeze." Something flickered across Noah's face. Pain, maybe. Memory. Then it vanished, replaced by granite. "Not my problem." He turned away. Evelyn should have left, marked him off her list as hopeless, but something stopped her. The way his shoulders hunched, as if carrying invisible weight, the meticulously maintained fences that spoke of a man who did care, despite his words. "I understand you lost your family," she said quietly. Noah froze. His hand tightened around the hammer until his knuckles went white. When he turned back, there was danger in his eyes. But Evelyn had grown up with 4 brothers. She recognized pain disguised as anger. "You don't understand anything," Noah said, voice low and rough. "I'd appreciate it if you'd leave now." "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude." "There's nothing here to intrude on." He gestured around his property, a sweeping motion that conveyed utter emptiness. "This is a farm. I work it. That's all." "Mr. Whitaker." "Good day, Miss Hart." He walked into the barn and closed the door. Not a slam, just a firm, practiced closing. The art of shutting people out, perfected through repetition. The sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky orange and gold. Beautiful, peaceful. The kind of place that should hold happiness. But Noah Whitaker's farm felt like a tomb. Walking back to town, Evelyn's mind worked. Everyone had told her about Noah. How he'd come here 5 years ago with a wife and small daughter. How illness swept the valley one winter, taking them both in 2 weeks. How he'd buried them on the hill and simply shut down. He used to smile, old Mrs. Henderson had said. Had the kindest laugh, but after he lost them, someone blew out the light inside him. Now he just exists. Evelyn understood grief. Her own father had died when she was 17. Grief was heavy, shape-shifting, never fully disappearing. But grief wasn't meant to be carried alone. She made a decision. She wouldn't push Noah Whitaker, wouldn't force him to town gatherings or demand he open up. But she wouldn't let him disappear either. There was still a human being inside that fortress, and humans needed connection. The next morning, rain drummed against the leaky schoolhouse roof. 3 children in the back row were getting soaked. "Miss Hart?" Little Emma raised her hand, water dripping from her braids. "I'm awful wet." "Come sit by my desk, sweetheart." As Emma moved, Evelyn studied the donation list. Most families had given what they could. A few dollars, promises of lumber, barely enough to patch the worst. Her eyes found the one name marked with a question: Noah Whitaker. After school, Evelyn walked to the general store. Mr. Patterson looked up with a friendly smile. "Afternoon, Miss Hart. What can I do for you?" "I need information about Noah Whitaker's farm, what he might need." The shopkeeper's smile faded. "Now, I don't like to gossip." "Not gossip, just what supplies he needs." Patterson studied her, then sighed. "He's behind on his seed order for spring. Not because he can't afford it. He just hasn't placed it, keeps putting it off." "Why?" "Because ordering seed means planning for a future," Patterson said quietly. "And I don't think Noah believes he has one worth planning for." That ache bloomed in Evelyn's chest again. "Thank you." 3 days later, she was walking past Noah's property when she saw him struggling with a fence post. Rotted wood, stubborn earth, and a restless horse. A 2-person job he was doing alone through sheer determination. Before she could reconsider, Evelyn set down her basket and walked through the gate. "Need a hand?" Noah looked up, surprise flickering before hardening to stone. "I'm fine. Your horse is about to bolt and you'll throw your back out." She took the horse's halter, speaking softly. "There, now you can work." She expected him to order her off his land. His jaw tightened, Pride versus practicality roared in his eyes. Practicality won. Fine, just hold the horse. They worked in silence. Noah wrestled the post while Evelyn kept the horse steady. The sun beat down. She studied Noah when he wasn't looking. Strength in his movements, competence. A man who understood the land. But also bone-deep weariness that had nothing to do with physical labor. There, Noah said finally, tamping earth. That'll hold. Good. Evelyn released the horse. I should go. Noah nodded, not meeting her eyes. Thanks for the help. 2 words. From Noah Whitaker, they felt like victory. You're welcome. As she turned to leave, Noah spoke again. Why? She turned back. Why what? Why do you keep coming around? Why do you care? Genuine confusion. As if caring was foreign now. Because you're part of this community, whether you want to be or not, and everyone deserves to know they're not alone. I prefer being alone. Do you? Evelyn asked gently. Or have you just convinced yourself that you do? Noah's expression shuddered. You don't know me, Miss Hart. No, I don't. But I'd like to. The words hung between them. Simple. Honest. Noah stared as if she'd spoken a foreign language, as if kindness was incomprehensible. I'm not good company, he said finally. That's all right, Evelyn replied with a small smile. I'm patient. She walked away, feeling his eyes on her back. It wasn't much, this small crack in his armor. But it was a beginning. And Evelyn Hart had always believed in the power of beginnings. A week later, Evelyn found a burlap sack on the schoolhouse steps. Inside were $15 in a note. For the roof, NIW. She held the sack like gold. $15 was a fortune for Noah Whitaker. But more than money, it was the note. 2 initials from a man reaching back toward the world. Miss Hart? Young Timothy appeared. What's that? Hope, Evelyn said softly. A donation for the roof. That afternoon she baked bread. The slow-risen kind her mother taught her. She wrapped it warm, packed it with honey, and walked to Noah's farm. The sun descended, painting fields amber. Noah worked his plow behind a mare moving with steady rhythm, man and horse and earth as one. Evelyn waited at the fence. When Noah turned and saw her, his body stiffened, but he didn't flee. He unhitched the mare and walked over, wiping sweat with a bandana. Miss Hart, cautious, guarded. Mr. Whitaker, thank you for the donation. It was generous. It's just money. It's children staying dry this winter. It matters. Noah looked away, uncomfortable. Did you need something? Evelyn held out the basket. I baked bread. He stared at it. Why? Because neighbors share. We're not neighbors. We're both part of Cedar Valley. She kept the basket extended. It's just bread, Mr. Whitaker. Not a marriage proposal. His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. He took the basket. Thank you. You're welcome. And please, call me Evelyn. Evelyn, he tested. Then reluctantly Noah. A small thing. A first name. But the crack in his armor widened. I should let you work, she said. Noah nodded, turning away. But then he stopped. The bread. My wife made it like this. Slow risen, said the quick kind had no soul. His voice rough. I haven't had bread with soul in 5 years. Evelyn's throat tightened. Then I'm glad I could share it. She walked away, leaving him with his basket and memories. 2 weeks later, Noah appeared at the schoolhouse with lumber. Heard you needed wood, he said, unloading boards. Seasoned oak. It'll last. He worked alongside the town men, measuring and hammering. He didn't talk much, but he was there. Evelyn caught Mrs. Henderson crying. It's a miracle, the old woman whispered. It's just a man remembering he's not alone, Evelyn said. By sunset the roof was finished. As people left, Noah approached. Need help cleaning? Yes, that would be kind. They swept in companionable silence. The schoolroom felt different with just them there, intimate in a way that made Evelyn's heart race. You're good with children, Noah said suddenly. Patient. Clear. Teaching is meeting people where they are, Evelyn said, whether 6 or 60. Noah's hands stilled. Is that what you're doing with me? No. I'm being your friend. I don't need friends. Everyone needs friends. Noah. Humans aren't made for isolation. He set down the broom, jaw tight. When you love people, you give them power to destroy you. When they're gone, his voice cracked. There's nothing left. Evelyn moved closer. Would your wife and daughter want you to stop living? Don't use them to. I'm asking honestly. Would they want this? Noah's breathing was ragged. Evelyn thought he might leave, but his shoulders sagged. No, he whispered. Sarah said life was a gift. Even dying, she smiled. 6 years old and she smiled. His eyes wet. How do you smile when you're dying? Because she loved you, Evelyn said softly. Love makes us brave. Noah turned away, wiping his eyes. I planted flowers on their graves last spring. Sarah's favorites. Purple ones. Violets? Yeah, she called them dancing flowers because they moved in wind. He laughed, broken. I sat there for hours talking to her. About the farm, stupid things. I'm losing my mind. You're grieving. Grief doesn't follow rules. It's been 5 years. There's no expiration on love, Noah, or loss. He faced her, rawness in his expression. Why do you care about a broken-down farmer with nothing to offer? You're not broken, Evelyn said. You're hurt. There's a difference. Hurt things can heal. I don't know how. Learn. One day at a time. She stepped closer. You helped today. That's healing. You're talking to me. That's healing too. Noah stared at her, something shifting. Then quietly, I'm scared. Of what? Of forgetting them. If I'm happy again, it feels like leaving them behind. Evelyn's eyes stung. You could never forget. They're part of you. Moving forward means taking them with you differently. Silence stretched. Then Noah nodded and picked up his coat. I should go. Noah? He paused at the door. Thank you for trusting me. His hand tightened on the doorframe. Evelyn? Yes? Next time you bake bread, if you make extra, I wouldn't mind. A smile bloomed. I'll make extra. After he left, Evelyn sat watching light fade. She thought about dancing flowers and a man learning to live again. Outside, autumn gave way to winter, but in her heart something like spring was growing. Winter arrived with a vengeance. The first snowfall came in late November, blanketing Cedar Valley in white silence. Evelyn woke to find 3 inches on the ground and more falling. She dressed quickly, worried about her students walking through the cold. But when she reached the schoolhouse, she found the path already cleared. Fresh shovel marks led from the road to the door, and a neat stack of firewood sat by the stove. Noah. Her heart warmed more than any fire could manage. That afternoon she made soup, thick, hearty beef stew with vegetables from the root cellar. She packed it in a covered pot, wrapped it in towels to keep it warm, and trudged through the snow to Noah's farm. He was in the barn mending harness leather by lantern light. He looked up when her shadow fell across the doorway, surprise flickering across his face. Evelyn, you shouldn't be out in this weather. Neither should you have been this morning, but you cleared the schoolhouse path anyway. He ducked his head, embarrassed at being caught in kindness. Kids need to get to school safe. And teachers need to thank their neighbors. She held up the pot. I made soup. Thought you might be hungry. Noah set down the leather, wiping his hands on his work pants. You didn't have to do that. I know. I wanted to. She smiled. Are you going to invite me in, or are we eating in the barn? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. House is warmer. Noah's home was sparse but clean. A simple table, 2 chairs, a stove that radiated heat. Everything functional, nothing decorative. No photographs on the walls, no quilts or curtains, just the bare necessities of survival. It made Evelyn's heart ache. They ate in comfortable quiet, spoons scraping bowls, wind howling outside. Noah ate like a man unused to good cooking, savoring each bite. This is excellent, he said finally. My mother's recipe. She always said soup was the language of care. Your mother sounds wise. She was, as she lives with my brother in Montana now. Evelyn stirred her soup. Do you have family, Noah? His jaw tightened. Not anymore. I meant besides. She caught herself. I'm sorry, that was thoughtless. It's fine. But his knuckles were white around his spoon. I had a brother. He died at Gettysburg. Parents passed before that. It's just me now. I'm sorry. Everyone loses people. That's life. That doesn't make it hurt less. Noah looked at her then. Really looked. No, it doesn't. They finished eating and Evelyn began to clean up. Noah stood to help and they moved around the small kitchen in an oddly synchronized dance. Hand off the pot, take the rag dry while she washes, like they'd done this 100 times before. You're good at this, Noah said suddenly. At what? Being present without being intrusive. It's a rare skill. Evelyn smiled. Years of teaching. You learn to read when someone needs space and when they need company. And which do I need right now? She turned to face him, studying his expression. Company. But you're afraid to admit it. Noah leaned against the counter, arms crossed. You're very direct. Life's too short for dancing around truth. Is that why you keep coming here? To force me to face truth. I keep coming here because I enjoy your company, Noah. Is that so hard to believe? You looked away, jaw working. Yes. Why? Because I'm not good company. I'm broken and bitter and barely holding myself together most days. You deserve better than, he gestured vaguely at himself. This. Evelyn set down the dish rag and moved closer. Do you want to know what I see when I look at you? No. I see a man who lost everything and kept going anyway. Who cleared snow for children even though it hurt to care. Who plants violets on graves because love doesn't end with death. Who's scared and lonely and brave enough to keep breathing despite it all. She touched his arm gently. That's not broken, Noah. That's human. His eyes were suspiciously bright. Evelyn. A sharp knock on the door made them both jump. Noah frowned, moving to answer it. Sheriff Hayes stood on the porch, snow dusting his hat. Noah. Miss Hart. He nodded to them both. Sorry to intrude, but we've got a situation. The Peterson boy went missing about 2 hours ago. 8 years old, last seen playing near Willow Creek. With this storm coming in harder, we need all the help we can get searching. Noah was already reaching for his coat. I'll get my horse. I'm coming too, Evelyn said. No. Noah turned to her. It's too dangerous. I know these children better than anyone. I know where they play, where they hide. You need me. She's right, the sheriff said. We're organizing search parties at the church. Bring lanterns if you've got them. The church was chaos. Worried parents, grim-faced men organizing into groups, women preparing hot coffee and blankets. Evelyn found Mrs. Peterson sobbing against her husband's chest. He just wanted to see the creek, she wailed. He loves watching the water. I told him to stay close. But he's 8, and boys don't listen. We'll find him, Evelyn said firmly, gripping the woman's hands. Thomas is smart. He knows to seek shelter. But the cold. We'll find him, Evelyn repeated, praying she was right. Noah appeared beside her with 2 lanterns and heavy blankets. We're going with the East team. Willow Creek splits into 2 forks up that way. If he followed the water, that's where he'd end up. They trudged through deepening snow, 4 of them total. Noah led, his sure feet finding path even in darkness. Evelyn called Thomas's name until her throat was raw. 2 hours passed, then 3. The cold was brutal, wind cutting through layers like knives. Evelyn's fingers were numb despite her gloves, but she kept going, kept calling, because somewhere out here was a terrified child. There! Noah's voice cut through the wind. He pointed to a dark shape near an overhanging rock. By that outcrop, they ran, stumbling through drifts. Thomas Peterson huddled beneath the rock, lips blue, shivering violently, but alive. Thank God, alive. Noah stripped off his own coat, wrapping it around the boy. Got you, son. You're safe now. I'm sorry, Thomas chattered. I got lost. Don't be sorry. You did good finding shelter. Noah lifted him easily. Let's get you home. The trek back was longer, harder. Noah carried Thomas the entire way, never faltering. Evelyn stayed close, her heart swelling with something she wasn't quite ready to name. At the church, Mrs. Peterson dissolved into grateful tears. The doctor examined Thomas and declared him cold but healthy. Everyone would be fine. As the crowd dispersed, Noah and Evelyn found themselves alone on the church steps. Snow still fell, softer now, almost peaceful. You were amazing tonight, Evelyn said. Noah shook his head. Just did what anyone would. No, you led that search like you were born to it. You saved that boy's life. We saved him. You knew where to look. Noah Whitaker, accept a compliment for once in your stubborn life. He laughed. Actually laughed. It was rusty, unpracticed, but real. Yes, ma'am. They stood there, snow falling around them, something fragile and precious growing in the space between. "Thank you," Noah said quietly. "For the soup, for coming with me tonight, he paused, "for not giving up on me." "I won't give up on you, Noah, not now, not ever." He reached out, hesitated, then took her hand, just held it, his rough palm against her cold fingers. It wasn't a declaration or a promise, just a small acknowledgement that he wasn't alone anymore. "I should walk you home," he said. "I'd like that." They walked through the silent town, hand in hand, while Cedar Valley slept under a blanket of white, and for the first time in 5 years Noah Whitaker didn't feel like he was drowning. He felt like maybe, just maybe, he was learning to breathe again. December brought more than snow to Cedar Valley. It brought judgment. Evelyn first noticed the whispers at the general store, conversations that stopped when she entered, pointed looks from women she'd thought were friends. Mrs. Caldwell actually turned her back when Evelyn tried to greet her. "Don't mind them," Mr. Patterson said quietly, wrapping her purchases. "Small towns breed small minds sometimes." "What are they saying?" The shopkeeper hesitated. "That you're spending too much time with Noah Whitaker, that it's improper for an unmarried schoolteacher to visit a widower's home. You know how people talk." Evelyn's hands tightened. "We're friends." "I know, but gossip doesn't care." He lowered his voice. "The school board meets next week. Questions about your conduct." Ice flooded her veins. "They're threatening my position?" "I don't know, but be careful, Miss Hart. This town needs you. Don't give them reasons to let you go." That evening, Evelyn stared at letters she'd started and burned. How could she tell Noah their friendship endangered everything? But she couldn't lose teaching. These children needed her. She didn't go to his farm the next day, or the next. On the third day, Noah came to town. Evelyn was sweeping the schoolhouse steps when his wagon pulled up. Her heart leaped, then sank. People were watching, Mrs. Caldwell across the street, the Reverend's wife by the church, half a dozen others pretending not to stare. "Noah," she said quietly, "you shouldn't be here. You've been avoiding me. Not an accusation, just fact." "I've been busy with—" "Don't." His voice was soft but firm. "Don't lie to me, Evelyn. What's wrong?" She glanced around at the watching eyes. "Can we talk somewhere else?" They walked to the field's edge. The wind was bitter. "The school board meets next week," Evelyn said. "Concerns about us." Noah's jaw tightened. "What kind of concerns?" "That I'm spending too much time with you. That it's inappropriate. That I'm neglecting my duties for personal interests." "That's ridiculous." "Doesn't matter if my reputation is compromised." She wrapped her arms around herself. "I can't lose this, Noah. These children need me." "So you'll stop talking to me?" "I don't know what else to do." Raw, desperate. "I care about you, more than I should. But I also care about those children, my work. I can't choose between you and my entire life." Noah was silent, then voice controlled. "You're right." "What?" "I've been selfish. Let myself need you without thinking what it costs." His fists clenched. "I'll stay away. I won't be the reason you lose everything. That's not what I want." "I know losing everything." Pain filled his eyes. "I wouldn't survive causing yours. Let me do this one decent thing." Before she could respond, he climbed back into his wagon and drove away. Evelyn stood watching him disappear, feeling she'd made a terrible mistake. The school board meeting was uncomfortable. 5 stern men, 2 women faced her. "Miss Hart, we've received concerns about your conduct." "What concerns?" "Citizens reported you visiting Mr. Whitaker's property. Alone, after dark." Mrs. Pritchard's voice dripped disapproval. "You must maintain moral standards." "I've been helping a member of this community who was isolated and grieving. There's nothing immoral about Christian charity." "Christian charity doesn't require repeated private visits to a man's home," Mrs. Pritchard snapped. "Are you suggesting I've been improper?" "We're suggesting appearances matter," Reverend Thompson said. "Appearance of impropriety is nearly as damaging." Evelyn's temper flared. "Mr. Whitaker donated to the schoolhouse, helped find Thomas Peterson. He's contributing again after years of isolation. If my friendship helped that, I consider it time well spent. Nevertheless, we must consider the children." "The children?" Evelyn stood, fury controlled. "I have perfect records. My students excel. I've secured donations. I stay late every day. And you questioned me because I showed kindness to a grieving widower. The board members exchanged glances. No one is questioning your teaching abilities, Reverend Thompson said carefully. But we need assurance that you understand the boundaries of appropriate behavior. What I understand is that gossip matters more than compassion here. Am I dismissed? Reverend Thompson sighed. Yes, but think carefully about your associations. Evelyn walked home through the dark, anger and heartbreak warring in her chest. She'd kept her position, but at what cost? Noah had already pulled away. The town was watching her every move, and she'd never felt more alone. The next morning, a petition lay on her desk. Dozens of signatures. We support Miss Hart. At the bottom, she gave me back my life. Noah Whitaker. Her vision blurred. That afternoon, Mrs. Peterson came to the schoolhouse. Miss Hart, I need to speak at the next board meeting, she said firmly. About how you and Mr. Whitaker saved my son's life. About how this town should be grateful instead of judgmental. You don't have to. Yes, I do. And I'm not alone, she smiled. Half the mothers in town are ready to give that board a piece of their minds. We know what you've done for our children, and we know what you've done for Noah Whitaker. That's not scandal. That's grace. Over the next week, the tide slowly turned. Parents spoke up. Students wrote letters. Even Mr. Patterson confronted Mrs. Caldwell in the middle of the general store, declaring that anyone who had a problem with kindness could take their business elsewhere. The school board called another meeting and apologized. Her position was secure. But the damage was done. Noah had withdrawn completely. No town visits, no notes, no cleared paths. He'd promised distance, and he kept promises. Even though it was killing them both. Christmas Eve arrived cold and clear. The town gathered at church. Evelyn sat alone, trying to focus on music instead of Noah's absence. Then, halfway through the second hymn, the door opened. Noah stood in the doorway, snow dusting his shoulders, his hat in his hands. His eyes found Evelyn's across the crowded room. He didn't smile, didn't wave, just stood there, a question in his gaze. Was he still welcome? After everything? After the gossip and the judgment and the forced separation? Evelyn stood. She walked down the aisle past shocked faces, stopped before him. You came, she whispered. You said everyone needs community, Noah said quietly. Thought it was time I tried again. I'm glad. Her voice shook. I'm so glad. Evelyn, He stopped, struggling for words. I can't stay away. I tried. I thought it was the right thing, the decent thing, but every day without you is like drowning again. I know it's selfish. I know it might cost you everything, but I can't pretend anymore that I don't. He swallowed hard, that I don't need you. The church had gone completely silent. Everyone was watching, judging, waiting to see what the scandal-touched schoolteacher would do. Evelyn didn't care. I need you too, she said clearly, loudly enough for everyone to hear. And I'm done apologizing for it. She took his hand, right there in front of God and everyone. Noah's fingers tightened around hers and something that looked like hope dawned in his eyes. Merry Christmas, Noah, she whispered. Merry Christmas, Evelyn. They stood there, hands clasped, while the organ swelled and the choir sang of miracles and new beginnings. And Cedar Valley learned that sometimes love is worth fighting for even when the whole world is watching. Spring came to Cedar Valley like a promise. Snow melted, revealing wildflowers. The creek rushed high, and Noah Whitaker stood in Evelyn's classroom after school, hat in hands, looking nervous. I planted the violets this morning, he said. On their graves, told them about you. Asked if that was all right. It's not foolish, it's love. Noah looked at her. I think I'm ready to try, to build something new, if you'll have me. Evelyn's heart thundered. What are you asking? I'm asking if you'd marry me. He pulled out a small wooden box. My grandmother's ring. Inside was a thin gold band with a small blue stone. Marry me, Evelyn, because I love you. Because you brought me back to life. Because every morning I wake thinking about you. Tears streamed down her face. Yes, Noah, yes. His hands shook as he slid the ring on. It fit perfectly. Then Noah kissed her, soft at first, then deeper, full of promise and hope. When they broke apart, he whispered, I never thought I'd feel this again. Joy, hope. You never lost them. They were just sleeping. You woke me up. They stood there in the quiet schoolhouse, holding each other as the afternoon light painted everything gold. The wedding took place 6 weeks later. The whole town came, even Mrs. Caldwell and Mrs. Pritchard. Evelyn wore simple white with lace. Noah wore his best suit. He looked handsome and nervous and full of love. As she walked down the aisle, she saw her students beaming, saw parents who defended her, but mostly she saw Noah, standing at the altar, tears streaming, not caring who saw. Reverend Thompson smiled. Dearly beloved, we gather to witness two souls who found each other, who've shown us that love is patient, love is kind. The vows were traditional. When Noah said, "I do," his voice broke. When Evelyn said, "I do," she meant it completely. "You may kiss your bride." Noah cupped her face. "My wife, my husband." The kiss was soft and sweet. The church erupted in applause. They had a simple reception, cake and dancing. By evening's end, Noah was actually smiling, actually alive. As they drove toward the farm, Noah asked, "Are you sure? It's isolated out here." "Wherever you are is home," Evelyn said. The farm looked different. Fresh paint, new curtains, flowers by the door. "You did all this?" "Wanted it to feel like home." He helped her down. "There's more inside." He'd cleaned everything, hung pictures, set out wedding gifts, made space for her books. But most surprising was the mantle, a photograph of Noah, his first wife, and their daughter. Evelyn touched it gently. "Noah, you said moving forward doesn't mean leaving them behind. They're part of who I am. I want them here with us." "It's perfect." That night, they talked about everything. Their hopes, their fears, the life they'd build. "I want children," Noah said. "If you do." "I do, someday." "And you'll keep teaching?" "As long as they'll have me. I'll support whatever makes you happy." "You make me happy, Noah. This, us." "Me too." Months passed, then a year, then 2. The farm thrived. Evelyn continued teaching, beloved by every student. Noah became a pillar of the community. They had hard days. Times when Noah's grief resurfaced without warning. Times when the past felt heavy. But they faced those days together, with patience and love. And they had joyful days. The day Noah surprised her with a piano. "You mentioned you played as a girl," he said. "Thought maybe you'd like to again." The day they found out Evelyn was expecting, Noah had stood frozen, one hand on her belly, tears streaming. "I'm scared," he'd whispered. "What if I fail?" And she'd held him, reminding him that love was about being brave enough to try. The day their daughter was born, Noah held her with shaking hands and whispered promises. They named her Hope, because that's what love had given them. Hope, second chances, new beginnings. One evening, years after their wedding, Evelyn found Noah on the hill overlooking the farm. He stood by the graves of his first family, Hope toddling beside him, picking wild flowers. Their son Daniel, barely 2 months old, slept in a sling against Noah's chest. "Telling them about us again?" Evelyn asked softly, joining him. "Yeah." Noah adjusted the sling gently. "Wanted them to know how blessed I am, how grateful." "They know," Evelyn said. "I'm sure they know." Hope reached for the violets growing on the graves. "Dancing flowers, Papa." "That's right, sweetheart. Dancing flowers." Noah's voice was thick with emotion, just like your big sister Sarah used to say. Hope had heard the stories. She knew about the sister who'd come before her, the one who'd loved violets and life and laughter. It didn't make her sad. It made her feel connected to something bigger than herself. They stood there together, the 4 of them, as the sun set over Cedar Valley, a family built from loss and patience and love that refused to give up, a family that honored the past while embracing the future. Evelyn leaned against Noah's shoulder, watching their daughter play, feeling the warmth of their son against Noah's chest. A complete family. A healed family. "Thank you," Noah said quietly. "For what?" "For not giving up on me. For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. For teaching me that broken hearts can heal if you give them time and love and patience." He kissed her temple. "For giving me this, all of this." "You taught me too," Evelyn said, "that love is worth fighting for. That second chances are real, that patience isn't weakness, it's the strongest kind of strength there is." Noah shifted Daniel gently, then took Evelyn's hand with his free one. "I love you, Evelyn Whitaker. More every day." "I love you, Noah Whitaker, always." The sun dipped below the mountains, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. The violets danced in the evening breeze, and somewhere in the distance the creek sang its eternal song. Life was good. Life was full. Life was exactly what they'd fought so hard to build. And it was beautiful. And the end. If this story of survival, courage, and unexpected love touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to Wild West Untold Love for more tales of redemption on the frontier. And if a moment or a feeling in this story stayed with you, we'd love to hear it in the comments below. Because sometimes the strongest souls are forged in the darkest places, and the greatest love stories begin with the simplest act of kindness.